Hey, welcome back. I'm Brunson of Modern Photography Group, and this is Shoot Review number 9. Shoot Review is essentially designed to take every aspect of my photography business and review it for you and tell you tips and tricks on how to implement certain things in your photography business. So I started my photography business from the ground up, and we are not all the way up yet, so we're like ground up. But I'm ahead of a lot of people, definitely behind a lot of people, but our process, we are profiting in our business. So I figured I'd come on and share a lot of what I do to even get to this level where you are, where you need like an accountant to do your stuff, and you have online websites, and you are getting good likes on stuff when you post it. So even though we're in the beginning stages, I figured I would share a lot of what I do and how we got there. So before we get into all that, I'm Brunson. You can like me, Brunson Photography, on Instagram. Also on this page here, which is Modern Photography Group, the channel, subscribe. You can like this video. You can share this video with other people. But this video is going to be connected to marketing. Okay, but specifically, when I've seen things where people are like, budget type of marketing, and I never understand like that term, of budget, because the way I started out as a photographer was I had a job, high school teacher, and I wanted to do some stuff on the side, so I bought a camera, and that was a lot of money. I bought my first Canon 50D at the time, and that was 2008. So almost 10 years ago, and then that was just the start. So I didn't know anything about marketing. I didn't know anything about branding. I didn't know any of that stuff. So like where I am today, I'm very comfortable, and I like what we do because we have a consistent push. Now, getting into this, the first thing I think you need is, of course, a logo that you can control, that you can replicate, you can duplicate, you can stretch, you can remove, you can do all these things too without paying any extra money. What I envision is most photographers started out like I did. You have a good job, a decent income. You want to make some definitely extra money to have a little bit nicer things, or throw into savings, or do whatever. And you want to be able to make money off of your hobby without being overly committed. Well, the first thing you need is a logo. So this is my logo, and you'll see it around. It's the Brunson Photography. It's circle, and I used an online service where I literally drew out what I wanted, drew it in circles. I wanted like mine to look like a brand, like a where they put on cows, livestock, and stuff like that. That's what I wanted. And I feel I get that. Now, this has evolved because it started out like all black with like kind of shading, which I still use on some stuff I post online. But it's evolved to this. And then it's even evolved further where there's like little stars here. And I think you can see it on this little card right here. So little stars next to it there. Now, the reason I share that with you is because when I had this processed, when you have this processed online, and you pay for it, including that $99 or $150 or whatever, you get a couple of reviews and like, no, I don't like that, take that back, blah, 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 do all this, I like those colors, and so on and so forth. And if you're not really good in like Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator, which I can do like straight lines and curves a little bit and change colors, but that's pretty much the extent of my skill set. Again, this is for people who are not, they're not going to learn more, and they don't have $300, $400 to every time they want to make a card to have somebody, produce it. You just don't have that kind of money. And really, we're just not at the level to even spend that kind of money on it. So I do all the cards and stuff in-house. Now, the biggest thing about what I said first is getting your logo. So get a nice logo. Yes, you can get a logo for $69 to $150, depending on how many times you want to tell them to change it. But if you kind of know what you want, the $69 one with like one review should do you right. And if you don't like it in the future, it's not a $200 investment. It's just a $69 investment, and you get all the files, and you can manipulate the files. So what I do, a trick that I do, is in the beginning I really just want this, like just the PB with the circle around it. But what they give me is the full-fledged thing with the stars. So what I do then is I use that. I take that file and I have Adobe Illustrator, and then I just take out the stars, take out extra shading, because they do like a lot of layers and levels, and they do it really, really well, like these online companies. But there's just certain things, like I just don't want the file that big, or I don't want all that extra shading, or I don't want this, or I don't want that, or I don't want the drop shadows, and instead of telling them, hey, take out the drop shadows, and then you trying to add drop shadows back in, just leave it all there. And it's better to just subtract those things in Adobe Illustrator than to try to add them, because I just don't have that skill set to add. So that's my process for there. So I take that logo, and I've done this for all of our logos, including the Firefly event photography one. And what I do is I take all those logos, and then I just subtract, what I don't want, and then I just kind of save as, then convert it to a JPEG, and then I can kind of place it on what I need to place it on, with a clear background. And then that's just how I get, my stuff. Because people always like kind of compliment, like, oh, well, your stuff is like balanced and all this other thing. So what do I use once I get the logo? Okay, people have asked. So I, have information on the back of the card, all this, and then this is the back. And I'll put these files at the end so you can see, like, what they look like. Okay, so once I have my logos, which I already do, I have them in a folder, on my computer. I use, and people are surprised at this, I use Microsoft Publisher. It's simple, it centers, and it exports to almost every file that you could possibly, need. Like if you need to export it to a PDF, you can do it, all the other stuff. So, excuse me, everything that I have processed and put together that's a card wise, I have purchased online with my design and my direction. I have used Microsoft Publisher to lay it out, space it evenly, put the information in there, and design it. And all this is just a simple like overlay. I'm not a designer. Like I'm not. If I want this color here, I just pull the color out of this, and that's pretty much it. So I'm not a designer, and I just keep things, simple. And I think everybody can kind of use Publisher, and I use Publisher for everything, including like, manuals and stuff like this. Not manuals, but you can see this, little pamphlets that we do for Firefly event photography, and our event photography. Like I just use Publisher, and I, convert it to a PDF if the file ends up being too big to export. And that does happen sometimes with the pamphlets. So what I suggest to people is that you kind of explore what you already have on your computer and keep things simple. All of my stuff is simple. It's usually just a couple of pictures across, boop, 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 maybe one picture on the front, and it's just simple information. Because the reality is this is kind of our business card, but it's also an information card too. So people are more likely to keep this. And then the reason I made this card bigger is because, people need to see our pictures, and I wanted to showcase a bunch of pictures, our diversity and all this other stuff, instead of just having one picture there that was just a wedding picture or something to that effect. But I wanted to showcase all the of what we do on a card, so I made it a little bit bigger. And the thing is, more than likely, most people won't really throw these away like right away. They'll hold on to them a little bit longer than a business card, or they'll just leave them on the table and you can see your big card and you can take them back. But most of these things most people are going to throw away. Like, people collect business cards, and what I usually do with business cards is just go right on Instagram and connect with people there online, so that if they post something, I can kind of keep them in my mind. But once you go to an event and you have a stack of business cards and yours is in the middle, everybody's ordering the same thickness. Some are thicker, some are shinier, some are this, that, and the other. But for the most part, it's going to be difficult to stand out on a business card. Now, if you have a bad business card, that's going to stand out more than an average business card with just information and above. Like, so yeah, bad business cards always stand out in their negative. But again, you don't have to have bad business cards, because all you have to do now is get your logos together, get 1 or 2 pictures, make sure your font is consistent, okay? Keep it to one font is what I do, okay, when you're doing this. One font. You can change the color of that font, but keep it to one font. And then there's a font always that's different in your logo, and you can kind of use that, but I would use it sparingly. So I use basic fonts. I think this is like, I don't know, maybe Arial, I don't know. But I just keep it basic, and I just go from there. So, those are just some tips for creating your cards. You can, learn Publisher on other on other YouTube videos. I don't really get into that, but I'm just telling you like what I do. So if you see some of my stuff and you're like, oh my God, that's like really cool. Like, I do it all in-house because we just don't have the funds to outsource that. We outsource the bits that I absolutely can't do, which is like the logos. And those logos need to be nice, and they need to be in Adobe Illustrator and all that stuff. But I can stretch and skew. I can do all that stuff too. So you don't have to keep bugging people over and over again. And also it translates well to shirts too. So if you're doing stuff on shirts and you want just a different design, it's better than going into the designer and going, okay, now change this and change that and change this. Like, they're going to charge you for that. So they're already going to charge you for a flat like $20 or $50 fee anyways, just to have it, converted into their particular file system. But to pay more hourly to have a guy sit there and design, and really when you just want your lettering black instead of white, like, you shouldn't have to pay for that if you have a basic skill set. So again, I have a basic skill set. I don't push it too far. I keep it nice and simple. So as you're starting out, do your cards. Again, if you have any questions that are photography related, or any like postcard related or business card related, and how we do it and how I process it, and even what online sites that I use. Everything I do is online because I do it on my computer, and because I can time it, I can get it here, it gets delivered UPS, boom, 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 and I just do it that way because it's just easier for me. Now, yeah, I do encourage like buying locally, but to be honest, I can develop a card sitting here, and before I can drive someplace locally. So I just do a lot of stuff online, and then we'll just go from there. So if a local site, if a local place had an online process, like I could do it, and I could just drop some information in there and get it ordered, I would use that. But nothing against locally. It's just the process, and there's a lot of inexpensive places online to get this stuff printed up for cheap. So that's just a way to help you continue to get your information out. Remember, this stuff's going to be, more than likely, they're going to keep it, look at it, and they're probably going to throw it away. So trying to spend all this extra money on that's a little bit of a push. All right, if you have any questions, again, I'm Pierce Brunson, owner of Modern Photography Group here in Tampa Bay, Florida. St. Petersburg is the city that we're in. Hit me up on Instagram, Pierce Brunson Photography, PIERCEBRUNSON. That's on Instagram, photography. And on Facebook, we're at Modern Photography Group. Ask any photo-related questions, and with this video, it's on the business cards and doing logos and stuff like that. So that's pretty much it for number 8. What is this? Number 9. Yeah, number 9. Hopefully I didn't say number 8 in the beginning of the video, because it's a one-shot deal, baby. All right, see you next time.